메인 경기장 도시형.
All right, so here we are in game number 2 of Dignitas versus Vile in the losers round 1 here from Team Arena Challenge. In the bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak, we have our red Zerg player coming from Team Vile. He is Hawk. And his opponent in the upper right-hand corner from Team Dignitas, that is MERZ. Hawk saying he's getting a little bit of lag. Not sure what server these guys played on, to be honest. But
yep, it's getting some lag. Yep, just his PC. I'm a PC. Yeah, there we go.
I am too. I'm not taking the counterpoint to that, actually.
Oh,
so.
good.
Yes. Yay.
The end. Daybreak, awesome map.
It
Good choice
is.
by Vile.Hawk. Although I got to say, not a map I think a lot of Zergs would pick versus Terran. I think it's a good balanced map all around, but normally you don't see Zergs, favoring this map in these matchups.
Right.
Normally you would see a different map like I don't know. Trying to think of an example now. I'm not really thinking.
Antigua
of anything.
Shipyard is a good map from the map pool. You would think you'd see a Zerg player.
It's
but
not. Yeah, it's not bad for Zerg. Otherwise,
what
I
else
wanted
we
to say
have.
Crossfire, but I'm like, I don't think Crossfire's in our map pool, so
no,
never mind.
It's
was
not.
yeah, that's a pretty good map for Zerg though. So
Right. Well,
they wish it was
We've
in our
got
map pool. I'm glad it's not. I'm not a big fan of that map.
No, I've really
sorry.
never been a big fan of that map. I apologize. So, and no real surprise out of MERZ throwing down gas, not doing a gasless FE, probably going to open reactor at Hellions. His opponent, though, we'll see what Hawk wants to do. It looks like it's going to be a 15 hatch to start. Now, we've kind of mentioned in the games that he's played in this tournament so far that he really does love his Mutalisk play.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see if he goes into that or if he wants to switch it up on us.
Well, he named himself after something that flies. I mean,
Right.
Are you really that shocked that he loves the Mutalisks?
I am, honestly.
Not a big surprise to me. I don't know. I've seen this guy play in a lot of NA online cups in kind of early 2011, late 2010. So he's been in the competitive scene for a long time. And, he's worked really hard to get to this level. So glad to see him going up against players like MERZ, trying to get some wins for his team here in the Team League.
Yeah, and Hawk doesn't usually tend to play cheap games. Tends to be pretty long macro games, so see if that's what we get out of him now. This is certainly a good map to do that on. And look at this, a tech lab on the barracks for MERZ. So, not going to open with reactor Hellions at all.
Yeah, you can do a Reaper expand on this map, and it works pretty well. Of course, there aren't quite as many locations to jump up into the main, but looks like he's going to try to put that bunker down, too. Not going to ever get a Reaper in there, but it does cause MERZ to at least, or Hawk, rather, to at least pull some drones. Lose a little bit of mining time, so nothing wrong with that.
He'll certainly lose more than the 25 it'll take to cancel that.
Yep.
And
That's definitely true.
SCV backing away. We do have our first Reaper just about to pop up. As you mentioned, it is going to be an expand. He's actually putting that on the low ground at the moment.
Yep, you can keep yourself pretty safe against early Zerglings as long as you keep your Reaper alive. And, of course, if he adds on a couple Marines, too, that helps. I feel like there's these Reaper openings out there that people haven't really figured out yet. I feel like you could go for multiple barracks Reaper openings in TVZ, even with the nerfs. But, just after that nerf happened, even though it was so long ago, people just kind of wrote off Reapers for anything other than scouting or, kind of cheesy gimmick builds,
Right.
But I feel like there's something out there. I mean, we didn't see Reactored Hellions become kind of a staple of expands for a long time into StarCraft 2's life.
Very
and yet
true.
Here we are seeing that nearly every game now. So I feel like there's more that can be done with Reapers, too.
And MERZ in danger of losing the Reaper here. He's got to watch out and will back his way down the ramp. See if he comes back up in a second. But
Hawk does not fear the Reaper.
No, he doesn't. More cowbell, please. And
oh, look at that. Another command center for MERZ.
Yeah.
A lot of Terrans have been doing this lately, especially in Korea with that fast third command center. Really, really cool to see. And I just love how people are expanding faster and faster in StarCraft 2. I mean, if you go back and watch Brood War, everybody's throwing down main bases left and right all the time. So it's cool to see StarCraft 2 evolving so quickly from such a kind of all-in sort of oriented play style to a lot of macro games. People are getting more confident with their play, more confident in how to use the units appropriately. I love watching this game evolve.
It makes me interested to go back and watch some Brood War videos from the very, very first days of competitive play, and see if there was a similar shift there. But because I don't know as much about the...
I would guess there probably was. I mean,
oh, for sure. I wonder how
I didn't watch it at that time myself, but I would imagine that just like most video games, you start out with the simple things and kind of evolve from there.
And a couple of Zerglings are roasted, but Hawk is pretty well prepared up the front, actually using queens rather than... He has 4 queens on the field right now. There's finally his first Spine Crawler. I was about to comment how he was not using Spine Crawlers for his defense quite yet.
Yep, not a player that uses roaches a whole lot. Prefers to kind of keep his gas saved up for going into, mutas, getting some upgrades as well.
Right.
And Reaper with some Hellions equals a lot of light unit damage. And
good surround.
Yeah, nice little flank there by Hawk. And he's going to, at the very least, drive these units away from MERZ.
Yes, he is. Kills one Hellion there, drives the others away as they're very low on health. Back on MERZ's side of things, though, he has just finished up his orbital commands.
Yep.
So, of course, he'll be triple producing mules now, and he'll be able to catch up on workers very quickly because he did sacrifice a little bit to get that in there. Actually, following this up, the Marauder Hellion push.
Oh,
but,
man.
Hawk losing a lot of Zerglings at the front.
That was a barbecue if ever I had seen one. And it looks like he's going to do a little poke with Marauder Hellion as well. Like you just mentioned, those Marauders, though, getting a little bit ahead of themselves.
Yeah, that's a little interesting.
Yeah.
They take a bit of unnecessary damage. Had the Hellions been there to buffer or provide support at the back would have been one thing, but just excess damage there.
Yeah, I mean, taking so much damage to that one Marauder there kind of ends that push before it even really began, so a little bit of a misstep by MERZ. Hawk already going for his Spire, going for that on 2 bases, playing things very safe. Not unlike you would see a player like Startail Curious decide to play something like this.
Very Hawk-like, though. I mean, this
Hawkish.
is pretty trademark his play. And he's going to try and counterattack with
Oh,
Zerglings. They
nice.
slip right
Beautiful.
through the supply depot wall.
He doesn't get up into the main, though.
No, but the Marauder is going to fall. A lot of SCVs are going to fall. These units are very far away from coming back and reinforcing. That's a lot of dead SCVs.
Yeah, man, that's going to do a lot of damage, and the SCVs have to run to the Hellions.
No.
Get to the Hellions where it's safe. And
Hellions.
yeah, he has just done a great job here with these Zerglings. Just one little counterattack causing him to lose so much mining time.
15
workers.
Wow.
Not bad. Probably a couple of those are from early in the game, but still, around 15 workers, not bad.
Apologize for going through puberty right there as I said whoa, but...
hey, better late than never, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Why not?
All right. Macro Hatch coming up at the same time. We see a third. Of course, he's investing in those as he gets his Spire at the same time, and he's going to defend on the back of some Mutalisks now, or not defend, but contain his opponent just by harassing for a little while. MERZ already seems like he's on top of the turrets, though.
He said defend on the back of Mutalisks. I'm just picturing him like riding around on a Mutalisk.
That's precisely the imagery I was going for,
How
so
would you
thank
sit on a Mutalisk, really?
The better question is, how don't you? I would figure in the mouth, probably.
You could
know,
kind of
just
like
hang out the jaws.
I think you could kind of sit in a little curve where the tail kind of like curves under in front.
But mutas are way bigger than you think they are, so...
Yeah.
I don't know if that's safe or OSHA approved.
You could put like a lawn chair just on the part of the muta that like curves down under and pokes out in front, on its little glaive worm shooting area.
I had this problem when I was
Just
bigger
hang out.
breaking lawn chairs, so I have an irrational fear of them now, so...
Well, pretty frightening to sit on one on a Mutalisk anyway. But
hopefully true.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Hellion. He bit the dust, and now there's some Mutalisks coming out now.
Yep, not going to be able to attack into that bunker, obviously, but he could find a place in the main to do some damage. Oh, that's not what you want to do.
Nope, not over a bunch of Marines with Stim. That is anti-muta. We do have some Hellions, or I'm sorry. Well, I guess Hellion's getting caught by Zerglings down at the bottom right, so Hawk is, of course, on pretty good technology right now. Pretty traditional Ling, Baneling, Muta composition.
Yep.
Enough Spine Crawlers to defend various places, and just continuing to keep his opponent on 2 bases as long as possible.
Yeah, you notice he's also going for the Carapace, too, and I think that's for Flyer Carapace, rather. I think that's a good choice because he sees his opponent as kind of sitting heavily on 2 base, and he's like, all right, I'm not going to get to exactly fly around and harass at a bunch of different locations with these mutas. I'm going to need to be at a place where my mutas are going to take some fire while they're trying to harass. So, yeah, why not get that Carapace first? I think that's a good choice by Hawk.
And looks like this last Hellion will eventually fall down. Bye-bye, Hellion. Mutalist stealing the glory there, but MERZ bunkered up pretty well on 2 bases with these siege tanks at the back. Unsieges them just as I mentioned that. It looks like he's going to poke out possibly just to take his third in a bit.
Another factory for MERZ, so really going heavy 2 base. This is basically all in on 2 bases at this point, adding on more barracks. He does have that 3rd command center, but until he moves it out, it's pretty all in. So he's going to just try to make a ton of tanks, I'm guessing, and then just try to push across and make some sort of like big death push.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
1, 2,
man.
3, 4, 5.
Oh, man.
6 mutas falling.
That was terrible.
Oh, of the 11 that were there, only 5 remaining. Now looks like Hawk probably saw those 2 Marines, decided to attack them, and probably switched away his vision just as that group of Marines rolled up.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's a vicious cycle because if you take your attention off of that, you hear the, oh, your units are under attack thing, but it's like, oh, no problem. It's just 1 or 2 Marines. And then you look back and everything's dead. That happens to every Zerg player, and it's the worst feeling ever.
It is worse than losing your puppy. And
Zerg players don't have puppies, man.
I suppose that's true.
They have larvae.
It would probably just sacrifice them.
You got to learn about the Zerg biology.
I guess so. I just assumed that Zergs were cat people, actually. But
they, they kind of are.
Yeah.
They don't really like to be petted.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't really come greet you. They kind of do their own thing. Yeah. Nice job picking off a tank there.
Very nice.
Oh,
hello! Actually walking the line there of, oh, I can almost get a second, and oh, I'm going to lose 4 mutas.
You can see, where getting that carapace helps out.
Yes.
I mean, obviously he's taking a little bit more damage than I think he would want to against your mutas. However, it's less because of the carapace upgrade. So at least he knew, that he was going to be in those situations later in the game. Had the foresight to do that.
Yeah. Plenty of mutas joining now, so we'll see what MERZ can kind of scrounge up out of this at the moment, as he has established his next base. But he really hasn't been able to drop. He hasn't been able to stop Hawk from expanding. Hawk now, of course, sitting on 4 very well-saturated bases. So, I mean, certainly MERZ is still in a pretty good spot. 3-base Terran can last for pretty long on this map, but he'll certainly want to take this pocket expansion at some point. Yeah,
MERZ deciding to not be all in, which is a good choice. He made me really worried there. He was on 2 bases for a very long time, and I'm like, come on, man, you're pushing it a little bit too far here. But does finally take that 3rd. Supply looking pretty good for both of these guys, really.
Yeah,
I mean, being 30 supply ahead in ZVT isn't actually a huge difference right now. But
especially with the pretty weak frontline engagement Mutalisks, force a big engagement, he's certainly not going to use all of those right away. He'll have to distract attention and pick off tanks first. Oh my god, actually he flew over a pack of Marines and lost 3 mutas.
That doesn't help too much.
No.
The thing is MERZ is kind of putting his army in places where the Zerg can't really attack, but it looks like he doesn't need to.
Oh my god, he's just going to run on by. Bye-bye bunker. It's going to force MERZ to counterattack. These SCVs are bypassed by Banelings. Now they're going to roll back. Was waiting for that big burst there. The Marines up at the front are going to go down as well. And boom! There goes the economy. 38 workers have been killed for Hawk in this game so far.
Man, he's going to feel that one in the next map over.
Yeah. He certainly is. Units coming back for MERZ now, but the economic damage has been staggering. He's got to be careful with those mutas once again. It's been a little cavalier with them so far, but it's still certainly been a very successful attack.
Look out. There's Banelings behind your base.
Yes, there is.
Right.
And
he's going to
go after the tanks. Ooh, getting the rest killed, but driving over the supply depot, so at least something is taken out.
Yep, that's right. Did about as much damage as he could in that situation. Sure. He's got a nice supply lead now. This is getting to the point where you need to worry. It looks like he did clean up a drop there as well.
Sorry about that.
What's the worker count right now? It can't be terribly high for our Terran player.
It is. He actually didn't kill a worker if he did drop there, by the way. So it is 38 to 80.
Okay, well, I mean, 38 isn't terribly bad if you're only on 2 bases, which essentially that's all MERZ is on right now. His main is getting pretty close to mined out. So that's not as bad as it could be. Oh, but I've got a feeling it's going to get a lot worse soon.
Yeah, no planetary fortress. Nice job. Oh, Hawk had initially sent the Banelings all around the left-hand side, but decided against that.
I think
going down.
He kind of reissued the A-move command, and the Banelings immediately went towards the bunker.
Yeah, it seems that's actually a good point. Let's see here. Still pretty good infrastructure for MERZ, but he is just losing a lot of stuff in delayed mining time. He's now mined out of his main, essentially. He doesn't have a lot left over at his natural. Hawk is still sitting on 4 bases. I would have figured he would have tried to continue his creep spread and expand to the pocket expansions, but hasn't done so quite yet.
Well, he's playing this really, really safely, and I respect that. I mean, he did lose a lot of Mutalisks early on, and he's not trying to push his luck by over-expanding. So I don't know. I think Hawk is playing everything really, really smart right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. A little bit of a rough start, but it's really starting to come together for him.
It was that spot with the mutas right at the beginning, but he did good jobs trapping all of the Hellions and Marauders with Zerglings, going right after the orbital command.
I'm a bit surprised about that. I mean, he could have taken out a reactor in this case. He still might get one, but at this point in the game, the production buildings are a little bit more important. But he does get that orbital, so that does help.
And we'll see if he can press things home
Ooh.
now. Ooh, looks like
he's gonna
Merz
come
is
in from
trying to
behind
move out.
with
Yes,
his
he is.
Mutalisks. Nice.
Oh, Tank sitting there forces a full stim out of his units and runs right through the front with the Banelings and Zerglings. The Siege Tanks are forfeit. They are done, except for the one who stays up because he didn't commit fully to the
It's
attack.
the luckiest
but
tank, yep.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was pretty good for Hawk. He
Oh,
was able
yeah.
to kill off a lot of those siege tanks. There's still a lot of Marines out. They still have pretty decent upgrades. They're going to be, they've got 1 armor, 2 attack right now, so not too bad. But Hawk just in a better and better situation every minute here. I mean, the nice thing about that is all his expansions are pretty safe here, and he does get the mutas away in time.
Yeah, pretty close once again, though. Every time he makes Merz stim, we can see these medevacs are getting very low in energy now, though. And in the middle of a critical fight, maybe very difficult for them to try and heal their armies up. And in fact, that is a lot of Banelings rolling their way over to the third base. A command center coming up, turning into an orbital command, and you're not long for this world. That is going to go down.
No, not really. I mean, he's really got Merz kind of running all over the place here. He's trying to defend one place, and Hawk attacks a different one. Oh, no, Marine splitting at all.
No.
Oh, ouch. Vile State so disgusted he just leaves the game.
I think he knows that his teammate is in a pretty good spot right now. There's only one command center left. GG is called. Oh, wow. And Vile takes the game back as Hawk has put them into a tie 1-1 going into game number 3.